I want you to get the most out of your Social Security benefits. So today, I'm going to walk you through how spousal benefits and survivor benefits actually work. So let's start with spousal benefits first. A spousal benefit allows one spouse to receive a benefit based on the other spouse's work record. Even if one spouse didn't work long enough to qualify for their own retirement benefit, they may still qualify for a spousal benefit. So at full retirement age, the maximum spousal benefit is 50% of the working spouse's primary insurance amount. So if the working spouse's full retirement age benefit is $3,000, the max spousal benefit is $1,500. So here are the rules that matter most when it comes to spousal benefits. First, the working spouse must file before the other spouse can receive any spousal benefits. Second, you can claim a spousal benefit as early as age 62, but the benefit is reduced if you start before full retirement age. And third, spousal benefits do not earn delayed retirement credits. So waiting past full retirement age does not increase the benefit that you'll receive. If the benefit is $1,000 at full retirement age, it's still going to be $1,000 at age 70. Now, let's look at a situation where both spouses worked and both qualify for their own benefit. If one spouse has a much smaller benefit than the other spouse, they may be entitled to more than just their own retirement amount. This is where something called the spousal top-up comes in. Each spouse is first entitled to their own retirement benefit. Then, if one spouse's own benefit is less than 50% of the other spouse's full retirement age benefit, they may receive an additional amount on top of their own. For example, let's say one spouse has a primary insurance amount of $2,000. Half of that is $1,000. If the other spouse has their own benefit of $800, they receive that $800 first. Then, once the higher earning spouse files, they may receive an additional $200 of spousal amount, bringing the total to $1,000. That additional amount is called the excess spousal benefit. And that distinction matters because people sometimes think they're choosing between their own benefit and a spousal benefit, but that's not how it actually works. They receive their own benefit first, then any additional spousal amount if they qualify. It works out the same usually as a normal spousal benefit, but it looks just a little bit different beneath the hood. Now, let's look at situations involving divorce. If you were married for at least 10 years, you may be able to claim a spousal benefit on an ex-spouse's record. Here are the rules that you need to know. First, you must be unmarried. Second, you must be at least age 62. Third, your own retirement benefit must be less than the spousal benefit available on your ex-spouse's record. There's also an important filing rule here. Whereas in a current marriage, the working spouse has to file before the other spouse can claim a spousal benefit, with a divorced spouse benefit, that rule can be different. If you've been divorced for at least 2 years, you may be able to claim your ex-spouse's record even if your ex-spouse hasn't filed yet. And that's one of the key differences between married spousal benefits and divorced spousal benefits. Now let's turn our attention to survivor benefits because the rules are different and often more favorable. A survivor benefit applies when one spouse dies. In many cases, the surviving spouse may be eligible to receive a benefit based on the deceased spouse's record. And this isn't limited to the 50% the way a spousal benefit is. A survivor may be eligible for as much as 100% of the deceased spouse's benefit, depending on the age that they claim and the benefit the deceased spouse was receiving or was entitled to receive. There are a few rules that you should know here. One is that you must have been married for at least 9 months before the spouse's death, although there are certain exceptions. Second, a surviving spouse can claim as early as age 60. If the surviving spouse is disabled, that can begin as early as age 50 in some cases. And if the surviving spouse is caring for the deceased worker's child who is under age 16 or disabled, there's also a remarriage rule that's important. Basically, if you remarry before age 60, you generally lose eligibility for survivor benefits on the deceased spouse's record. If you remarry at 60 or later, you can usually keep that eligibility. Now, let's apply this to divorce. Let's say your ex-spouse dies. You may still qualify for a survivor benefit on that record. The main requirements are that you must have been married to your ex-spouse for at least 10 years. You must be at least age 60 or age 50 if disabled. If you remarried, that remarriage must generally not have occurred before age 60. With regular spousal benefits, the cap is 50% of the other spouse's full retirement age benefit. But with survivor benefits, that amount can be much larger. Unlike regular spousal benefits, there can be planning flexibility around when to claim one benefit versus another. For example, in some cases, a person may claim a survivor benefit first and switch to their own benefit later, or do the reverse. That depends on the numbers, the ages involved, and which benefit will be larger over time. So when you hear the term spousal benefit and survivor benefit, it's important not to treat them as if they're the same thing, because they're not. They follow different rules, they start at different ages, and they respond differently to remarriage. And depending on which apply, they can lead to very different optimal claiming strategies. If I were to simplify this as much as possible, here's the main framework. A spousal benefit is based on a living spouse's record and is generally capped at 50% of that spouse's full retirement age benefit. A survivor benefit is based on a deceased spouse's record and can be worth up to 100% of that benefit. And spousal benefits require the worker to file first, unless this is a divorced spouse case where the divorce has lasted at least 2 years. Spousal benefits begin at 62, survivor benefits begin at 60, sometimes earlier, and waiting past full retirement age doesn't increase a spousal benefit, but timing can matter a great deal with survivor benefits. So before you make a claiming decision, make sure that you understand which type of benefit you're eligible for, when it can begin, and whether filing earlier or later actually improves the outcome. Social Security claiming strategies are just one of the things that we help our clients here at Haywood Wealth Management. So if you'd like to talk with us about how we can help you get the most out of your Social Security benefits, please reach out to us. We'd love to talk. I've included a link in the description for you to schedule a quick 15-minute conversation with us to see how we can help. And if you're looking for something else to watch, I've recorded another video right here that talks about the biggest retirement tax traps that you should be aware of. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel so that you can see more content like this in the future. See you next time. Bye-bye.